I was trying to check my computer, but anyways, quick intro for those of you who are watching. My name is Yajin. I'm a personal trainer, small business owner. We opened a gym here in mid-January. Weirdest time in the in the world to open a new gym, but also my goal is to be able to interact with all of you here in this group to hopefully give you the strategies and tactics that you need to apply to your own weight loss journey for you to not only see results in the now, but also keep those results for like months and years to come. I really believe in long-term strategies and consistency and sticking to these plans and programs and making sure that you're able to really follow these things through. So again, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here today. And I wanted to talk real quick about the topic of how you can go about changing bad habits. You know, there's a couple of bad habits that you might notice maybe holding you back from effectively losing weight. And my goal on this live video here today is to kind of go through a couple of stories, both of my own experience, kind of take out the lessons that I've learned throughout those stories, and also apply what I've learned throughout reading, you know, dozens of habit building books, and, you know, listening and learning from a lot of people who specialize in habit change. Okay, so for those of you who have questions on this topic, I'm trying to monitor this from my computer right now. I don't know if it's on a live feed, so if you do have questions about the topic or want to drop anything in, go ahead, drop a comment there. I'll try to address these as we go. Let me see if I can pull this up anywhere. Okay, I should be able to see the comments. If you're watching this right now and wouldn't mind doing me a quick favor, drop a comment there to let me see if I can actually see these questions as they pop up. But anyways, let's dive into the actual stories that we're going to talk about. And the first story that I'm going to talk about is my cookie story. And I talk about this cookie story a lot because I have this basically idea where if you don't want to eat too many cookies, don't leave the cookies on the counter. And the reason why I say something like that is because I used to go grocery shopping at Sprouts, and I really enjoyed the chocolate chip cookies, sometimes the white chocolate macadamia nuts. You know, I would switch it around a little bit every single time I go, but I would always grab a box of cookies when I went to get my groceries. And, you know, I'd be there 2-3 times a week and just pick up a box of cookies as I go. You know, this was maybe a dozen cookies, maybe 12 to 15, something around there, but they were probably around 4,000 calories per box of cookies, and they were delicious cookies. Depends on the store you go to, but anyways, this is not about the cookies. I would take that box of cookies and I would leave it on my desk. So as I would be working throughout the day, I'd be like, okay, cool, I finished this big task, let me grab a cookie or two, right? Reward myself. Have you tried that before? Let me know. Oh, awesome, I can see the comments. Audio sound is a little low. Let me see if I can hear myself here. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. My mic was going in the completely wrong direction. Let me know if the audio is a little better here. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I was filming the video in the other direction yesterday, but so back to the cookie story. I would basically pick up a box of cookies every time I went to the store, and I'd leave those boxes of cookies on my desk and just sitting there right in front of me and kind of reward myself as I go throughout the day, get some work done as those projects get taken care of. Now the issue with that is that I would often finish this entire box of cookies, 4,000 calories roughly, by the end of the day. If not by the end of the day, usually by the next day. And this, you know, 4,000 calories of cookies, that's a few cookies too many. That's actually way too many cookies. And the biggest issue with that is because my environment wasn't really supporting what I wanted. I didn't want to be shoveling cookies, you know, down into my mouth all day long. However, because the cookies were sitting there, I made it so convenient and easy to access them, I couldn't stop myself from eating them. No amount of like motivation or willpower, it's literally sitting there, and when it's sitting there right on the counter or right on the desk, it's close within your environment, you make it easy for yourself, then it's hard to stop. And that's a really important thing when it comes to habit change. Your environment is going to impact how you behave, right? And if you're someone who says, I can't stop, you know, Halloween has just come and gone, and a lot of us are like, we have so much candy laying around the house. Me too. I bought a big box of, you know, chocolate bars, and no one stopped by this year. I totally understand Right now it's kind of crazy, but because no one stopped by, I'm left with this box of candy bars, and you know, it's like if you let them sit there, you're just gonna slowly, one by one, start finishing those candy bars. If you really say like, okay, honestly, my first and foremost priority is to lose weight, that's super important to me right now, it's best to get rid of those candy bars. And I'm not saying throw them out, like, you can give them to someone down the street who's like, okay, we would love to have some candy bars, but maybe their goal isn't to lose weight and yours is, right? But get that junk food, get it out of your environment. If you want it enough to go drive to the grocery store and buy one of it, don't buy a whole box of it to leave on the counter again. To buy one of it, go ahead, do it, but again, don't make it so easy for yourself to kind of make poor choices. And this actually works both ways. If you make it really easy for yourself to make good choices, let's say you take a little time to research, find out what healthy snacks you like. You know, pecans. I like pecans. I can just keep on munching on pecans. Nuts have a lot of calories in them too, but at least they're very beneficial to your body. They're a pretty healthy snack for you to snack on. If you take the time to research and figure out what, you know, whether it's fruits or small veggies that you can snack on throughout the day, and leave those around the house, around your desk, around the office, instead of filling, you know, your environment up with chips and cookies and candy bars and things of that nature, then it makes it a lot easier for you to make the right decision. Because all of a sudden, you want a quick snack, you're gonna grab whatever's closest to you. If what's closest to you is a good option for you, then hey, you're probably not gonna drive to the store down the street just to grab something in that moment, right? Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but as far as like this lesson goes, the goal is to make habit change easy for you. Not only is it easy for you to make the good decisions, but also make it hard for you to make the bad decisions as well. So that was kind of the first story that I was going into. Let's check the comments real quick here. Again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead, leave them down in the comment sections below. I'm gonna try to answer these as we go along. I'm monitoring it right here while we're doing this. But again, for those of you who are just hopping on, my name is Yajin. I'm a personal trainer, small gym owner here, and I've been working with people in establishing the habits and behaviors that they need to lose weight and keep that weight off for months and years to come. For the past 5 or 6 years here, I've been really interested in fitness, health, and nutrition ever since I was 12 or 13 years old, and I kind of went through different phases and cycles of fitness, of nutrition, but we won't go too much into detail about that today. I'm about to jump into another story and kind of dissect the lessons that I learned to help you eliminate the habits that you feel might not be supporting your goals at this moment, okay? So we talked about the cookie story, and now the second story where back in college, and I'm gonna kind of share a little more detail with you guys. And yeah, so at one point in college, I like smoking a lot of weed, okay? I guess that is what it is. And at one point I was like, hey, you know, this is making me feel really slow, making me feel groggy. I feel like I'm getting up late in the morning, staying up late at night. As a result of this, it was probably a lot of other poor behaviors and decisions I was making at that time as well. But I felt like this one thing is kind of holding me back from being able to be productive and focused and try to learn and grow and, you know, do those things that I probably should have been doing in college, like show up to class, right? But at one point I was like, okay, I've got to stop this habit. This is kind of holding me back. I think similarly to how a couple of you out there are probably like, you know, there's certain things I know that I'm doing in my lifestyle right now that's totally holding me back from my weight loss. I need to stop it, but how, right? So, you know, I was pretty solid with my willpower, with my motivation. I was like, this is pretty important to me. I'm gonna stop. However, the issue was in my environment, my community, the people that I spent a lot of time with, it was a common occurrence to get high, right? Not trying to say that was wrong or right, but as far as for the goals that I was trying to go after, it wasn't aligned, right? It was in misalignment with what I was trying to go after myself. So I was able to stop, whether it was a couple weeks or a month or two at a time, but at the end of the day, when everyone's coming over and, you know, or your roommate is there and like, every time they get back from class, it's like, oh, you want to smoke? then it makes it a little difficult to hold off for so long. Like sooner or later, I would always fall back into the trap of like, oh, well, you know, maybe I had a rough day, feeling a little down. It's like, why not? Okay, let's take a hit. And then that would lead into another and another and another, and all of a sudden I'm right back to where I started from. So what I learned from that lesson or period of my life was that if you want to stop something, however, a large part of the environment around you is also not kind of set up in a way where it's supporting you, then that can really hold you back. But at the same time, I want to point out that it is kind of twofold in that yes, the environment does impact you, but you can also impact the environment. I don't want to sit in the situation and say like, hey, you know, the environment's not helping me out. I'm just going to sit here and not do anything about it, because we have the ability to take action and try to change those things as well. So how I eventually got kind of outside that habit was by changing the people I was spending time with. And that was a very difficult decision that I had to go through, because, you know, for those of you watching, you probably have people in your life that, whether it's family or very close friends, it might sound very difficult to say to yourself and decide, hey, maybe instead of seeing this person 5 times a week or 3 times a week, it's gonna have to go down to once a month, at least to the point where I can start, you know, chasing down my goals and taking part in those behaviors and those habits that are actually supporting me. And then maybe I can step back and say, hey, you know, look, I'm doing pretty good at this right now. Or I've heard a couple of you out there who pointed out that it's difficult for you to stay on a healthy routine when your family or the people around you are like, oh, you know, we eat a lot of fast food, or they're not interested in the concept of, you know, weight loss or a healthy lifestyle. And that makes it very difficult. So how I would kind of approach that is, first of all, you have to take control of, you know, what you're doing and start small. All right, a lot of people get started in habit change by saying, you know, I'm sick of this, which is a good thing, right? You want to have that encouragement, that internal motivation to get you started. However, you can't go from 0 to 100 and expect to stick to that, right? So start small, take one step at a time. Maybe this means going outside and taking a quick walk, 5-10 minutes a day. Build on top of that. Maybe you're gonna swap out one meal a day and say, hey, instead of going and grabbing some fast food for breakfast on the way to work, I'm gonna go grab a pack of something like, I don't know, flavored oats or something quick and easy, or maybe even prep it beforehand so I can grab and go on the way to work and not have to stop by, you know, whatever place that I used to stop by. So making these small decisions one at a time, and then building on top of that. And at the same time, if let's say the people around you aren't that supportive, maybe you just gotta share your goals with them. Let them know that, hey, I'm trying to lose weight. This is really important to me. Like, I've been trying really hard, but it's a little difficult sometimes when everyone's eating cheeseburgers and I'm here trying to eat like oatmeal, right? It doesn't have to be oatmeal. We'll go into diet in another video sometime else. However, you can have that difficult conversation with them and say, hey, you know, this is what I'm trying to shoot for. I really want to lose these 50 pounds because, you know, I've been feeling a little tired lately, a little groggy. My energy levels just haven't been in sync with where I want them to be. And it means a lot to me to, you know, be able to shed these 50 pounds. And more often than not, I think sometimes sharing that those thoughts and your experience with them will also kind of trigger a little bit inside. You know, I think a lot of people out there would also be interested in losing that weight, seeing those results, feeling better, feeling more energized throughout the day. But like, if no one brings it up, that thought might never cross their minds. And sometimes, you know, you bring that up, you just have that talk with them, and it's like all of a sudden, hey, you know, maybe I want to do that too. And I think that could start like a really awesome, instead of, you know, having that environment or that friendship or that community where you feel like things are kind of going against you, what if everyone had that same goal? Like, at the end of the day, I think sooner or later, everyone wants to be healthy, right? It's super important, and sometimes it takes longer for someone to realize that. However, sooner or later, everyone's gonna be interested, because I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and I really see two types of events. People who show up and say, hey, you know, I want to take ownership, take control of my health, my well-being, my wellness right now before something bad happens. And unfortunately, I also see the event where people show up and it's like, hey, look, my doctor says I have this, or my doctor says I have that. If I don't start doing this, it's gonna get much worse, and you know, I'm probably gonna have to get surgery. I'm probably, you know, there's a lot of risks down the road for me. Of course, I don't like seeing those occasions of people coming up to me with that. It's not an easy conversation to have with them, but at the same time, sometimes that's what it takes for them to really say, hey, you know, I haven't prioritized my health, my well-being prior in life, but now it's something that I really need to take some action on. So sooner or later, those people are going to, you know, prioritize their health and well-being. So having that conversation with them, sharing your experience of like, hey, I want to do this. Do you want to do it with me too? Not only is that going to help strengthen your community and your environment, and now everyone's working together, it establishes accountability, which is so powerful because a lot of people talk about motivation. And the thing about motivation is that it really comes and goes, right? Motivation, willpower, you can't really rely on those things for long term because they get impacted by really small. You have a bad day at work, you're probably not going to feel so motivated to get out of work, show up to the gym, eat something healthy, right? However, accountability on the other hand, if you set up systems for yourself where you have accountability and someone's checking up on you, holding you accountable, that's going to stay there, right? So I always like to talk about peer pressure, right? If you have social accountability, whether this is a partner, a coach, someone that you're working with, or like a workout buddy who you can say like, hey, you know, I'm having a rough day, talk it through. All of a sudden it's like, okay, no longer am I going to make this short-term decision to eat something to make me feel better right now, but might not be contributing to my long-term goals. Hey, let's make a good decision, talk it through, get it over with, and move on, right? But that social pressure goes kind of both ways. It can be used for bad things, but at the same time, having people around in your environment or your community to support you, to encourage you, to help you make good decisions can be a really powerful aspect there as well. So that's kind of the lesson. Sorry, I think I was like rambling for a couple of minutes there, but that's kind of like the lesson that I drew from that experience where I was in college, and it's like, I'm trying to change my habit here. However, it doesn't feel like the people around me are being very supportive to what I'm trying to accomplish. So that was kind of the second story. I'm gonna jump into the comments here. So for those of you who are just jumping in, quick recap, my name is Yajin, I'm a personal trainer, small gym owner here. I've been helping people with weight loss for the past 5 or 6 years, coaching them on the habits and behaviors that they need, not only to lose weight, but keep that weight off for like months and years to come. I'm 100% for long-term sustainable results. So that's kind of what we're going into here. I'm running through the comments here. If you have questions that you want to ask, something that just popped up in your mind, drop in the comments below. I'll answer these as we go. So, hey, Shell, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but Shell, hey there. Your question is, what do you suggest to stop cravings such as sugar? So when it comes to sugar, you've probably heard that it's kind of like a drug. I listen to a lot of podcasts with like doctors, and a lot of them do refer to sugar as like, it's addictive. They consider it as some sort of recreational drug, although, you know, in our eyes, or it's not promoted as such a thing. So when it comes to sugar, if you're actually addicted to sugar, that could be a big problem, and you might actually need to seek help. Now, on the flip side, a lot of us just really like eating sugar, and it gives us a little dopamine rush whenever we taste it. So you're gonna have to slowly kind of ease out of that. If you try to cut it 100%, you could try it. Some people do those like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, like sugar detoxes or cleanses or whatever you want to call it. Basically just stop eating sugar for a big period of time. And you can almost look at that as some sort of like drug detox. Again, I'm not trying to be like a doctor or like a medical professional. If you really have an issue with that, I would recommend talking to someone who's actually qualified for that. However, one option is say, hey, next 30 days, I'm gonna find an accountability partner. I'm gonna track this on a piece of paper, or find a coach or someone to work with and say like, hey, I'm not gonna eat this for the next 30 days. I'm gonna report everything that I eat on this piece of paper or whatever. If something's off track, let me know, and then go about it that way. How it happened for me, I actually used to drink a crazy amount of soda, actually. Non-stop. Yeah, I would go after school every single day to 7-Eleven, get one of those like double gulps, literally every school day. And I guess it was a little paranoia that drove me to like, oh, you know, I don't want to be unhealthy, and I literally cut it out 100%. Now, obviously that doesn't give you a very strong way of saying like, how do you actually fix this? But I always believe that education and awareness is the first step when it comes to changing your habits. Why do you want to cut out the sugar, right? If you're trying to lose weight and you're consuming, you know, 300, 400, 500 calories worth of sugar every single day, then take a look at the numbers, do the math, see like when it comes to weight loss, what difference is it going to actually make if I do cut the sugar out? Is it going to help me? Is it going to harm me? Obviously, it's not going to harm you if your goal is to lose weight and you cut that sugar out. So if it's going to help you, it's like, okay, wait a second, I'm consuming 500 calories worth of sugar every single day. If I cut that out, then I might be losing about 1 pound of body fat every single week. Is that attractive to you? Is it important? Okay, cool. If it is, then all of a sudden, you know, now we can start creating a little momentum for yourself, and now we get to the strategies, the tactics, and the how-to, right? If you're drinking a soda every single day, or a couple sodas throughout the day, me, myself, not that I like drinking soda, I always like to have something with me to drink. You can see I have my little coffee cup over here. But I've had a lot of sparkling waters because calorie-free, okay? I usually go for unsweetened ones as well. There's this one where it's, I go to Costco, I think it's called Spindrift or something. It's like they add sparkling water with some fruit, and I've been really enjoying that lately. Or if you go to Aldi, the branded, or the Aldi branded sparkling water there is pretty solid as well, but it's 0 calories, there's no artificial sweeteners or any of that other stuff inside of it. So it's relatively safe for you to, I would go through like a case a day, but then I found myself, especially in the evenings, where if I don't have something to sip on, a lot of the times I'm sneaking towards that wine, sneaking towards that beer, and trying to, you know, have something else for me to sip on there. So if you're having trouble with drinks, I would say swap it out with something a little bit different. Now, going back to the environments, if you're trying to cut out sugar cravings, and it's going, you know what? I've been talking this whole time about cutting out, how to switch out your what you're consuming if you're consuming too much sugar there. And I didn't realize, I think you were talking about cravings. So yeah, going back to cravings, this has a little bit to do with what I was talking about earlier as well, where if you're consuming a lot of sugar, in a sense, it's almost like some sort of recreational drug there. And you sometimes do have to approach it with that sense. If you cut out sugar for 30, 60, 90 days and get to the point where your body, like physiologically, your body is not so dependent and reliant on having that sugar there anymore, then it's probably not going to be as hard for you to get rid of it. However, if you're drinking, you know, a couple sodas throughout the day and you start like cutting it down to like halfway, all of a sudden your brain's like, I was getting this much dopamine before, why am I not getting that much now? And you're going to start really, 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 really wanting it. Like right now for me, I talked a little bit about back then how I used to be drinking like a double gulp. I think those things are like, it's over a liter's worth of soda. It's like some crazy amount. However, I was drinking one of those every day, and if I stopped, I would definitely want some more. However, when you get to the point where it's like 6 months and you haven't had sweetened drinks or like sugary treats on a regular basis, I'm not saying cut it out 100%, but try to limit it to the point where maybe you have 2 or 3 a week rather than 2 or 3 a day. And get to that point, then now all of a sudden you're not so relying on your body's sense of like, oh, I want that like sugar rush, right? And then I think that would strongly help you reduce those cravings and not have so much trouble with them there. So hope that was helpful to you, Shell. Not sure if you're still watching there. For those of you who are just jumping onto the live video right now, my name is Yajin. I'm a personal trainer. Small gym owner here. We opened up in mid-January. Weirdest time to be opening, honestly. And I've been helping people with weight loss, developing the habits and behaviors to help them drive sustainable results to last in months and years to come. So we were kind of talking today about habits, about how to quit the habits that are holding you back. If you have questions, drop them down below. I'm going to take a couple more minutes here, so if there's anything on your mind when it comes to weight loss, nutrition, exercise, drop it below. Let me know if you have those questions, and I'll try to answer them on the spot here. Otherwise, we'll take about another minute or two. If there's no questions coming in, then we'll call it a day with this live. I got some work to do, putting together some workout for our members here, so I might even jump onto another live later on today. Let me know if you're interested in watching any sort of like exercise programming, if you're stuck at home and you don't have a gym and you're like, I don't know where to start when it comes to workouts with fitness. I can put together some workouts there and jump on another video hopefully later on today as well. So, looks like there are no other questions for now. So we're gonna hop off. Again, check back later on today. I'll probably be doing another stream about exercise and fitness and workouts and trying to help you put together a little program that you can do yourself at home. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Again, this is Yajin, and hope to see you guys on another video soon here.